So I feel really blessed to be starting the summit and welcome everybody to season 6. Um, and what I thought would be really nice is if we all just join together and create sacred space in the etheric. I always do it before the summit begins anyway, and I have done already. But I just thought it would be lovely if we just did a bit of an activation. Um, Hi, Helen. Hi, Maria and Sandra. Oh, I'm glad you could make it, Sandra. um, but yeah, I thought it would be really lovely if we just did a small activation right at the start and really just to kind of bring all of our energy together to set the energetic scene, as it were, for the whole summit. So regardless of whether or not you could join every live call or whether you connect in with them on the replay, from the etheric perspective, you'll all be together and present and bringing love and light and unity consciousness to these chaotic times and to everybody, all souls, because we are all connected. And so what we do in healing or work for ourselves, we do for everyone anyway. So just to start off, and as people are coming in, I just welcome everybody. And if you just like to make sure that you're nice and comfortable and just allowing your energy to be called into you, to become fully present in this moment. So letting go of any distractions, letting go of wherever your energy may be fractured or fragmented, and really allowing yourself to call yourself fully in, fully present in this now moment. Allowing your energy to gather within yourself, within your own sacred sphere, your own sacred torus field, body of light, the light being that you are. And as you allow your energy to gather and come together in oneness with yourself, just allowing your awareness to drop from your head as you gently close your eyes and drop down into your heart space. And allowing your awareness to fully embrace this space within you. You may be focused on your physical heart space, and some of you may be focused on a much more expanded space, just allowing your awareness to go wherever it's going to go as you set your intention to drop down into your heart field, your heart space. And just breathing into that space and allowing your breath to flow to you, through you and from you with the utmost ease and grace. Opening your field, having the intention that your field becomes open as we ask all of our healing teams, those highest vibrational beings of divine love and light that are our highest aspects of self, in whatever way, shape or form they wish to present themselves to you within your own space, and to everybody who connects in on this call, whether it be in replay, whether it be months down the line, it doesn't matter. All time is now. So calling in everybody's healing team, and those perfect beings of divine love and light that you are in the higher dimensions, to come into your space and create sacred space around you, protected space around you. But as we each individually create this protective space, we ask the healing team of the collective consciousness to come in and create the perfect container, the perfect etheric space for this mundane to magical community and all who encounter these calls. And that container has been created, as is your individual containers, with the liquid light of the pure source field that you are. Some of you may be aware of the shape. Some of you may be aware of the container forming. As we ask for this beautiful container of light to be filled with the diamond white photonic light of the source field that we are all a part of, as we come into oneness together as this community, as part of this Mundane to Magical online summit series, season 6, and feeling that container, your individual container and the collective container being filled with this pure divine photonic light. And it's just clearing and releasing anything within the environmental fields around you, releasing it back up for transmutation into pure divine love light. And just allowing your field, your light body, to absorb this radiant energy that you are. Clearing and releasing any distortions, any interference that you may have that may stop you from fully receiving the messages, the guidance, the activations that you connect with during the summit. And as your field of light is being filled, as the containers are being filled, allowing your awareness once again to land within your heart space and becoming aware of the column of light running through the very core of your being, the very center of your being. And it is in fact this column of light that holds all of your energy centers that we call chakras. And this column of light extends all the way up and beyond your physical form, all the way up through the multidimensional aspects that you are, all the way to the pure source field. For you are an individuated divine spark of the all that is. So allowing your awareness to connect all the way up. And again, intending for all of the blocks, all of the glass ceilings, as it were, that we may have placed within our field of light, stopping the flow of energy to us, to be removed, to be dissolved with the utmost ease and grace, so that your connection to the pure source field that you are can be obtained, attained, fully, wholly, and that you can connect in with that energy, that essence that you are. And allowing yourself to fully receiving whatever energy, whatever downloads, whatever healing is right for you in this moment. Just allowing that energy to flow to you. Some of you may feel tingling, some of you may feel hot or cold, some of you may see things, just allowing whatever is perfect for you. And allowing this energy to flow all the way down through your column of light, filling your heart center, filling that heart center, your eternal flame, with even more of your divine love light from the pure source field. And then again, following that flow of energy down through your central column, all the way down, past your feet, again, allowing all blocks, all resistance within your central column, within energy centers, to just dissolve, clearing, aligning, reharmonizing, activating. And then allowing that energy to flow all the way down through your light body, all the way down into your connection with your planetary self, through the foundations of the building that you're in, through the earth and the clay and the rock, the crystal and mantle, all the way to the diamond heart of the planetary self that you are, Mother Earth, Gaia, Tara, Matea. However you connect in with this highest vibrational energy, And allowing the intention that you release yourself. You release yourself from any attachments, connections, grounding roots and cords, connecting into the lower timelines, the fear, the despair, the sadness, the loss, the anger that exists within the lower vibrational field of the earth plane. Just pulling all of your energy up and out, calling it back into your clear channel so that it may flow and connect fully and wholly with the diamond heart of your planetary self. For you exist beyond time and space and through all dimensions. You are a glorious multidimensional being of love and light. And you are now fully and wholly connected to your pure source self, all the way down to your planetary self. And again, allowing whatever downloads, information, nurturing, energy, support, healing, wisdom to flow back up to you from the highest vibrational essence of the Earth's energy, your planetary self. Again, up through your central column and mixing and merging in your beautiful heart center, which may now feel more expanded, freer. And as your heart field is feeling more expansive and free to move, expand, to flow with your natural rhythm, we allow each and every one of us to, as it were, connect in with each other. And whether you envisage each other holding the hand of your neighbor and the hand of your neighbor on the other side, or whether you feel yourself connecting in through your expanded heart centers, as you allow yourself and your awareness of self through your heart field to expand beyond your physical form, beyond the room that you're in, beyond the town or city, beyond the country, connecting in with all of these other points of light, of all of these other open heart centers, open and expanded heart centers that circle the globe, connecting us all as we are connected, all of us, to our pure source field and our planetary self. And we all come into oneness. And from our expanded heart center, we radiate this divine love, this divine light, this beautiful unified consciousness of love light that we are, out into the entire field, out into whatever reality dimension you feel able to connect into. And whether that is just that you are just opening your heart and sending that love light into your local area, or to the whole of the earth plane, or the universe and beyond, it doesn't matter. Just allowing yourself to radiate like the beacon of light and love that you are. Fully protected as we are all held in this sacred container. We are all sovereign beings of light. And we command that which we allow into our field. And none shall enter our field other than that which is in our highest and greatest good. And so it is. But we may radiate out that love light that we are, in whatever way, shape or form we feel aligned to, as we connect into each other's fields and join in unison, lifting our open heart space up to the pure source field in honoring of our Father Self, and down to the planetary aspect that we are, the diamond heart of Gaia, Mother Earth, Tara Matea, in honoring of the planetary self that we are. And we ask that all that connect into this summit receive the perfect message, wisdom, guidance, healing, activation, downloads that is perfect for them in the moment that they connect in with it. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. So just allowing your awareness once again to draw back in. You can still radiate that love light out, but just drawing in your awareness back into your heart space. Back into your heart space within your physical body, and your physical body within the space that it's in. Becoming aware again of yourself, your muscles, your tissues, your sinews and bones. Stretching out if you need to. And we give thanks to everybody's individual members of their healing team who may well be doing work with you during this session and throughout the summit. And whatever you are ready for will happen, but you are always in command. And so if anything at any point ever feels like it's too much, you get to call the shots, you get to call time out. You are in control. Okay. Woo. That was nice. All right then. Patricia. No, that was my pleasure. And to anybody who came in partway through, obviously there is a recording, and you can all go back to the recording and play it. Unfortunately, I couldn't stream live onto Facebook for some reason. Facebook settings were playing up for me today. I will look into sorting that out for tomorrow's live interview. All right, okay, so I will officially start this live call as you're all coming back into yourselves, into the space. No, it's my pleasure. I just felt drawn to doing that, just to bring us all into this beautiful unified space that we're creating. Because it's important for us, and this is one of the things I think that really wants to come through for this summit, is how important we are. The creators of our own reality, the creators of the external reality, and it is from our energetic space that we create our experience and through our perception. And so if we can lift and raise and stay centered within ourselves, maintaining that awareness of ourselves as the pure source field of light, that we are connected eternally to the source field and to the planetary self, we radiate into the wider field, the energy that we are and that we wish to see. And so if we all come together and we all individually do our work to clear our field, raise our vibration, and radiate that beautiful high frequency love light out, it will be felt. The ripple effect, it's felt. In the March equinox work that I was doing, I was shown like a twig landing on a still pond, as it were, and the ripple going out, and the ripple just extends and extends and extends out and out and out. And that's what I was shown. Nothing can stop what is coming. The ripple has, the twig has has hit the water, and the ripple is now going out. And whether you can see that in your own physical reality yet or not, it is occurring, and we are that ripple, and our energies combined create and maintain the power and the strength of that ripple as it carries throughout the energetic landscape that we exist within. And let's not forget that we exist within a multidimensional energetic landscape. This physical reality that we can see and touch is only one aspect of our existence and only one aspect of the wider existence that we are playing in at this moment in time. And so reframing and changing our perspective on what's going on, it becomes play as we encounter the physical reality rather than a chore or a sufferance, as it were. Oh, there we go. Okay, that wanted to be said. Right, okie dokie. Okay, let's start this thing properly then. You like diamonds in the sky. Yeah, Michelle. Okay, so officially, hello and welcome to season 6 of the Mundane to Magical Online Summit series. For those who don't know me, my name is Louise Matson and I am truly blessed to be your host. Today is the launch day for season 6 of the summit, and I feel really honoured that it's transpired that I shall be starting the summit this season with the messages that I've been guided to share with you from Source today. So for those of you who are new to me and my work, I'll give a little brief introduction. I am an intuitive conscious channel. I don't go into trance. Conscious channeling means that I am open. I'm an open channel and it just flows through me. I'm also a conduit for energy healing, shamanic practitioner, best-selling co-author, way shower and spiritual mentor and guide. And I channel source energy, sharing the messages through my Source Speaks blog posts and morning musing videos, although I will hold my hand up. I haven't done many of those recently as my mundane life took over for a bit. But I also do channeled healing activations and journeys as well. My work includes one-to-one client sessions, group work, online workshops, training programs, and creating and hosting this summit. My soul mission is really to assist the global collective ascension, as is all of ours who connect in with this type of work and these types of podcasts. And specifically mine is to assist people along their path from disempowerment to standing in their sovereignty and really radiating your light openly to the world, empowering people to understand that, you know, we are divine sovereign creator beings, and allowing us to realign and, you know, realigning others to that awareness of self, their life purpose and their true potential. Now, the topic for today's live call is Biurification to Divine Unification. And Source guided me to share this information with you today. But I'm going to start off with a short poem that I actually channeled back in July, around about the day out of time, which I think was the 25th of July. This poem came through me, and at the time, it was just coming out. I was just speaking it, and so I managed to grab a recording device and record it. But I really didn't know what it meant at the time, but it felt really aligned to share it with you now. So here goes. This is the time beyond time, the time out of time, the time of that which was done to be undone, the time of the great sacrifice to be over. This is not a splitting of the timelines, it is a reunification. As that which was rest asunder is now reunited and made whole. So it was only a short poem, but it felt really profound at the time. And like I say, when I channeled it, I wasn't exactly sure what it meant, but it does feel very relevant. So if it's touched you, just allowing yourself to absorb that transmission in whatever way, shape or form wants to be absorbed, knowing and trusting that with everything that I speak during this call, there's many different layers to the energetic transmission. And so you'll receive and acknowledge and have an awareness of that which you're ready and that which is perfect for you to receive in this moment. So as with all of the transmissions, whether they be activations or a conversation, just knowing that, there's many different energetic layers to the information that's being given during the different calls. So let's talk about this topic then. So people talk about different timelines that we're currently experiencing in our lifetimes, and the split in timelines that people see happening at this time. And there's lots of different options that I've heard in terms of, where we're heading with regards to New Earth, everything from, good aliens coming down in spaceships and taking us off to a new Earth, which is a completely different planet, to the people who are choosing to pass away, and those people who are, really stepping into their higher frequencies and embodying more of their light, being the ones that remain, and those being the ones that change the old systems into the new systems that will be the foundations and the makeup of the new Earth structure. And there's lots of different stories about biurification and what that means. And I know Magenta Pixie has called it triurification. So like a threefold splitting, as it were, of the timelines. But all of these ideas about timeline splits and the timelines that we're all currently on splitting to encompass this new Earth, this great awakening, this, raising in consciousness timeline, what I've been shown is that biurification is actually what we've been existing in our whole lives up until this point, generation after generation, because the biurification is that twofold aspect, that duality, polarity aspect, and everything that we've experienced thus far has been an aspect of this biurification of these polarity spectrums. And Source basically shows it to me as these horizontal lines, where at one end you've got one extreme of the polarity, and at the other end you've got another. So for example, you might have love and hate, or good and evil, and then within that polarity spectrum you'll have subsections. So if we look at the polarity spectrum of empathy, at one end of the empathy spectrum, you'll have someone who's able to empathize with others. And at the other end of the spectrum, you'll have those who are completely incapable of empathizing, find it completely unable to connect with somebody else, completely closed off, and, not able to connect into what other people are going through. And yet within that polarity spectrum itself, you also have the spectrum of somebody who is empathic. So, you've got within the empathy spectrum of someone who's able to empathize, someone who's not able to empathize. You've got the subpolarity spectrum of someone who is at one end completely open, like a sponge, who's just merging with other people's fields and energies the whole time, thinking that it's their stuff, and at times feeling quite overwhelmed energetically. And then on the other side of that spectrum is someone who's actually standing in their sovereignty as a sovereign being, knowing who they are, knowing where they start and stop, but actually being able to see from another person's viewpoint without being connected to it or being merged with it. So within these kind of really obvious polarity spectrums, I was going to say black and white then, but that's the polarity spectrum in itself. You've got these grey areas, these sub-polarity spectrums as well. Now, where I'm being currently guided with the healing work that I do is to bring people into the middle ground of these spectrums, that center point, centering the clients, as it were, because all of these polarities exist within us, all of them. They are all potentialities. And we have within our field, because, we're part of the All That Is, the potential for every single one of them. And in previous lifetimes, we've experienced them in reality, which is why some of these polarities really trigger us, because we have some kind of energetic memory signature, particularly to those that are still open within our field. And this is where a lot of the healing work for me is being focused at the minute, is to close them off and completely disconnect people from those timelines, if you like, those lifetimes, those incarnations, where people have experienced these polarities and their divine essence is still caught up in there. So what I mean by this is that, say for example, in a past life, your soul chose, because everything is a choice, nothing's an accident, your soul chose to have a certain experience before incarnation. And say your soul chose that it wanted to be a victim in a lifetime. And so you kind of get together with a bunch of souls from your soul family, your monad, and you say, do you know what, I'd really love to experience what it's like to be a victim in this particular situation. And another one of your souls, soul friends, soul family says, wow, that sounds great, because I'd really love to experience what it's like to be the perpetrator. And so you agree to come down and be part of this perfect experience in physical reality, in incarnation. And you go through your life and you play your parts perfectly. But because when we incarnate, we tend to forget who we really are, and we forget the truth of who we are as multidimensional beings and souls incarnating to have a physical experience, we also forget that we agreed to all of this and we chose this, and we've designed our whole life experience in this way, and we start to take it really personally, and we get really attached to our physical identity, and we get really attached to all of the identification aspects that go with it. And then being the victim becomes this awful, hellish experience. And, maybe at the end of the lifetime, maybe something happens that takes the whole victim experience to the point of death. And at that point of death, we make a decree or a vow. At some point along that lifetime, we throw out a command into the field, or we make a promise, or we curse someone or ourselves, so that this experience can never happen again. Such as, I'm never going through this again, or, cursing the so-called perpetrator with a pox on you and all your family and all of those like you. And we do this stuff all the time. I can look back on my life and I can see a number of times just coming to my mind now where I went, never again, da 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 da. So it's really easy for us to do when we are caught up in these personality identities, these incarnations, and we take them really personally. Because words are energy, words are powerful energy, and we're manifesting and creating our reality all the time. And we're not just creating this reality, and that's something that's really important to be aware of. What we do in this lifetime can impact the lifetimes that come afterwards. Because if we've created something that strong, like, I swear I'll never, basically we're placing a bit of our divine essence into this contract with ourselves. And it's like we're signing it in blood, but we're actually signing it in our own divine essence. And that carries over lifetimes. And it can also come down ancestrally as well. And again, the work that I do is not just clearing what, you may have placed within your field, as I see them as these distortion programs, but from your ancestral lineage, what's been placed coming down those, and particularly with curses and things like that. Now, because your divine essence is connected to something at that point in time and space, in that lifetime, that whole lifetime, that whole point in time and space remains open within your field of light. So at the end of that lifetime, your soul essence, it doesn't completely disconnect. And so when you go back to source and then at some point you choose to come back into incarnation, you come back into incarnation, but that experience is still open with all the painful memories, with all the emotional baggage, all the mental constructs, with everything. And it creates this overlay, like an imprint, if you like, into your divine field of light, your divine matrix. And it's interesting because recently, and maybe it's because I studied electronics and computer studies when I was younger, that I'm shown it as kind of like, it's like these overlays onto your own operating system. Okay, so it's like having software already installed. So when you go into the next lifetime, this overlay is automatically running. It's created this automatic program that is already installed into your divine operating system. So it's like buying a computer in a shop and there's already some software built into it. So you're never coming into the next incarnation completely clear from your divine matrix, completely pure and clear and ready to go with your next chosen experience. You've got these added programs already installed. And if you think how many lifetimes we've already had and how many times we've repeated this process and got caught up and become attached and sent these command codes out into the field, we've got so many programs already installed, and they're affecting and impacting on our choices and our experiences and how we perceive them, because we're still connected all the way back to the point of origin, to all the emotional baggage, all of the mental constructs. They're still connected in our energetic memory signatures. So you go into this new lifetime and you have these similar experiences, and we talk about patterns occurring in our lives. And this is in part due to this vibrational energy that we've chosen to master in this lifetime, from the perspective of your soul contract, the gene keys, the astrological natal chart. They'll all show something that we've kind of come here, some kind of journey that our soul has chosen to come on, but they're also in part due to these energetic ties and to these past life decrees that hold our divine essence trapped in previous points in time and space. So when we start to become more conscious and we begin our healing journeys, we begin to see the patterns that are occurring, and it's at this point that we're able to choose whether to continue on them or let them go. And these patterns and situations that occur, they hold the same energy or experience, but they've got different actors in it. Before you become conscious of them, you may just be thinking, oh my God, it's just my life. This sort of thing happens all the time. Or why do all my relationships end like this? Or why do I always pick the wrong men or women? Or whatever the storyline is. Or it could be something to do with your ascension journey. I always allow myself to get so far and I'm just on the verge of something really big, some great shift, and then I get blocked and I can't move forward. But it's about having that awareness that if this is happening, it could well be because, what I'm being shown is it's because we've created these decrees or these commands however many lifetimes ago. And we've said, I'm never standing in my truth again because that didn't end well, or I'm never standing in my power because I was a complete monster. Well, if you've got those, if those are your original wounds, then you're never going to allow yourself to move forward in this lifetime, because you've got that emotional baggage, you've got that mental baggage, and all of the storyline experience still completely connected in and attached to your field of consciousness. And so standing in your power in this lifetime feels like the worst thing ever, to your ego, to all aspects of yourself, other than, the ones beyond that know who you truly are, and have that fuller view of what you being in your power is and what you came here to do. Because, you've either been the victim or you've been the perpetrator. So we end up having loads and loads of these lifetimes. And some of these programs will be playing out many, many times over different lifetimes. And they become a massive thing. They become part of your identity construct. So even from birth, you have these experiences, and these are the ones that are your biggest triggers. The biggest triggers when you start doing the healing work, or when you start living your life and trying to expand beyond the little box that you've created for yourself. Because all of these different programs have come in and have shrunk your field of possibility. And that's what's creating our excuses as to why we can't move forward, as to why we can't step beyond and really shift into our higher dimensional aspects, really stand in our power and stand in our truth. We may be able to do it in certain arenas, but then we completely shut ourselves down in others. So it's only when we start doing the healing work that we see these portals, we see these openings, these attachments and connections. And so it's not about clearing stuff only in this lifetime, but it's clearing right up to the point of origination, the point in time and space, or even ancestrally, where it all started, that created that original initial overlay, that distorted program within your divine blueprint. And what I'm seeing at this moment in time is that we are in this, I know it feels really chaotic, I know it feels really challenging, but we're at this time collectively and individually where we're ready. We are so ready. The planets, the transits, everything is lined up and ready for us to be able to really shift consciousness and to clear, whereas before we would have stripped away individually all these layers and it would have taken us ages. Now it's just like boom, boom, boom. We've cleared a whole load of these distorted programs, these overlays, because the time is now. The time is now for us to do this. And anybody who's being called to this work is being called to clear their fields to the point of origination of these programs, so that we can be there for those coming behind us, so that we can support those who are part of the collective, who some are saying are currently asleep to what's going on or unconscious of who they are, and that there is this wider field of consciousness around us all. So when we look at these polarity spectrums and we look at why our focus, why our awareness is on a particular aspect of it, a lot of it's because these experiences that have kept us trapped within the particular perspective of this polarity spectrum is there, it exists. Because when you're in the center of these polarity spectrums, when you're allowing yourself to let go of the point of origin, you're not attached or pulled to one side or the other, but you hold the whole field, you hold all of them as a potentiality, but you're neutral. You're neutral to any influence from them. None of them have a massive pull on you, and you get to make the choices. You get to make choices rather than reacting from a set state of being. And you can see the whole field. You can see both sides of the story. You can see the 10,000-foot view. But when you are caught, when you are tied into one extreme or another, or any of the areas in between, then your field of vision is lessened. You're not able to perceive the experiences from the other side, because your identity is built up, it's caught up in this particular extreme of the polarity spectrum. So if I'm caught in a victim consciousness along with this victim perpetrator spectrum or victim success spectrum, then my field of potentiality isn't even going to take into account the fact that I could be anything other than a victim. So then when I look at all of these other opportunities, these doors of opportunity that are around me, when all of these other timelines start coming into view, my view of them is limited already. So as a clairvoyant, Source shows me the different timelines that exist in any given moment, literally as gossamer thin lines of light. And there literally are millions of potential timelines that exist in any given moment. And this is the field of potentiality that we exist within and create from. And the field of potentiality has many different kind of layers to it, or levels to it. You've got kind of like the lower timelines, and then you've got the mid-range, and then you've got the higher timelines, and they've all got different frequencies of energy, different vibrations within each of them. So if you're so connected to this idea that, you know, you're a victim and that nothing ever goes right for you, and it's, you know, literally built into your hard drive, as it were, that, you know, through these overlays of distorted programming, that you've got limited access to this full vibrational spectrum of the field of potentiality, then these overlay programs are basically saying who you are and what's possible for you, and they're limiting everything. So that when you connect into the field of potentiality, your field of vision of the timelines is going to be really limited. You won't even particularly have a concept of the fact that there are multiple timelines and that there are multiple possibilities and potentialities. It can be like, well, you know, it might be possible for other people, but not for me. You don't even see them. You're so closed off to seeing them. And I can attest to that because I've been there. You know, I've been there where I've placed myself in this little box and I've kind of accepted what society and what my family and what other people around me have been saying is possible. And I did that around money. You know, what was possible for me to earn? You know, what was possible for me to, just the fact that, you know, it's possible to charge for my service work, for something that I came in with as a gift. All of these limiting little boxes stopped me from even seeing the full spectrum of potentiality that was available to me as a multidimensional being of love and light. So much so that when a timeline comes along that you've connected into through whatever source you've allowed yourself to connect into. So, for example, another polarity spectrum that exists for us is Ego FM and Divine FM. And again, I see it like a radio dial. If you're so attached to Ego FM, seeing yourself purely as, you know, this is the only life that I have, I'm completely attached to my body, the roles that I play, the sex that I am, and all these things that make me me in this physical incarnation, then I'm completely disconnected from the concept of being anything other than that, let alone source incarnate. And if that's the case, I won't even see myself as a multidimensional being, and I won't see those possibilities or anything beyond this physical form and this physical external existence as a possibility. So the sources of information are going to be coming from the very, very limited spectrum. I'm going to be taking information from the mainstream narrative, from the structures that exist within the physical, hierarchical, egoic field of reality. You know, everything that is and has been. So I'm going to be taking my information from mainstream media, from the government, you know, and all of those different narratives. And that's going to be my truth, because that is the only truth that I have a connection or an awareness of. If I'm attached to, well, because my awareness of myself as a multidimensional being doesn't exist in that world. So I'm going to be attracting those timelines that are connected to that frequency. And those timelines are going to be the timelines of the lower spectrum of the field of potentiality. You know, they are the ones that exist on the bottom, as it were. And I'm never going to look up, because why would I look up? There's nothing to look up to. This is it, kind of thing. I've placed this kind of glass ceiling on the field of potentiality. So I'm not going to look up to see if there's any other possible timelines, to see if there's any other possible futures or, you know, ways of being. And so I'm going to miss out on being able to connect into any of them, because I'm not going to see the potential timelines that are coming in. And when I'm shown timelines and how we connect to them, it's like if you imagine yourself to be the column of light that runs all the way through you from source all the way down to your planetary self. If you see that as like a tall, a long, thin space station. If you see that as a long, thin space station, and you're in this field of potentiality, and all of the possible timelines are little spaceships that want to come and dock, then basically that's how they show me how the timelines work. And it's kind of like the possible timelines that you're able to connect with, to see, are these little tiny spaceships that want to come and dock with you. As soon as your awareness goes on them, it's like a tractor beam. You are attracting them to you. And so they all come and they'll dock with your space station. Now, if you're only connecting into your only possible awareness of the field of potentiality is this, you know, you've got a glass ceiling on it and you can only kind of connect in with the lower timelines, well, they're the only ones that you're going to have an awareness of, and they're the ones that you're going to be attracting in. Now, when we connect in with these timelines, these narratives, we basically make a connection. We make a connection to them. So a timeline comes into your awareness, and if, say, your source of information of possibilities is the mainstream media, then it may well be that that timeline is only of the lowest possible timeline that's going to come into your awareness. And so you're aware of it, you're attracting it into your field like a tractor beam, drawing it to you, and you connect in and you've locked onto it. And then, because of all the baggage that we've got from the distorted programs running in the divine blueprint, we believe it. We believe it to be truth. We connect with it. And, you know, we let it dock. And we build this connection. And then it becomes part of our identity. We create a link to it. So, you know, we can move between the space station that we are, this tubular space station, and this little spaceship. So we can walk to and from it without needing a spacesuit. We've come so attached to it that it's become part of us. Now, if that's the case, I'm really attached to that timeline. And so if that timeline was to suddenly dissolve or to fall away or to suddenly not exist, it would feel completely disastrous to me. I would feel crumbled, because I was so attached to it as part of my identity. And this is where issues of attachment come in. But what we can't see, because of all these overlaying distortion programs that are stopping us from being able to look up, is all of these other higher timelines that are also available in the moment. I was a therapist, and I specialised in working with older adults. And I I was an occupational therapist, and I would observe people. And it's interesting because if you look at people, you can just imagine you're walking down any street. People are always looking down, and they're usually looking down at their phones, but they're looking down. Their heads are bowed. Well, if you spend your whole life looking down with your head bowed, or you're looking over your laptop and you're sat bowed, then there comes a time where your muscles around your neck get so stiff that you become unable to look up. And it's kind of like that. That's kind of how I see, when we get so attached to connecting in with these lower timelines, that it becomes like a physical impossibility for us to kind of lift our necks and look up, because we create this energetic kyphosis, as it were. Our energetic structure becomes so solid that we can't see the full height of the spectrum of the field of potentiality. So if we're caught up in these polarity spectrums of the ego FM, we don't see the point in looking up, because the source of information, everything that we're building our awareness of the field of potentiality from, is really limited. There was a time years ago now when I was a single parent and I had no money, and I was literally living from one benefit check to the next. And I would put pennies into separate jars so that I could pay for gas and electricity and food. I never went window shopping. My family and friends would say, come on to the shops, let's have a look to see what's in the shops. And I would think, well, what's the point? Because I can't afford to buy it. My philosophy was based on distorted programming of lack. It's like, well, what's the point? What's the point of seeing what's in the shops? What's the point of seeing what's out there if I can't afford it? Why hurt myself? Why subject myself to that? Why bother looking? And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people in the collective are. They're so bought in, tied in with all these distorted programs and layers that it's like, why bother? Why bother looking up? It's not possible for me. So their awareness is focused only on this bottom spectrum of timeline potentiality. And that's what's creating their experience, because that's what they're constantly drawing in and attaching to. Angela's saying, I feel sick knowing my North Node is in Taurus, in my 11th house of relationships. I just want harmonious, joyful, supportive relationships. Well, if your North Node is in Taurus, that's a very physical, that's an earth sign. I mean, I'm not an astrologer. I've been interested in astrology my whole life, but it just doesn't sink in. I can't hold on to the information, and I can't remember what the 11th house is. But if it is of relationships, then I would say, look to these polarity spectrums around, what are your triggers? What's triggering you? What is stopping you from having harmonious, joyful, supportive relationships? Because there's a field of potentiality where you've got that possibility. You've got the possibility for all of them. So, the work for you, as the work for all of us, is to clear that which is in our field. And as we clear it in our field, we're clearing it for the collective as well anyway. So, going down, finding the root cause of the disharmonious, joyless, lack of support relationships, whatever it is, and letting that be dissolved, clearing that distorted programming from your field so that you can actually then connect into the full spectrum of the field of potentiality, because it exists. You are a multidimensional being. So all of those, all of the potentials are there for you. And just as my history in this lifetime and in previous lifetimes had been around the storylines of lack, and worthlessness, I had to clear those before I was able to look up and connect into higher timelines to do with abundance and flow and trust and allowing myself to receive. And it's not always going to be really obvious and apparent. You know, it can be something that you think, well, my goodness, how can that be related to relationships? But clearing that polarity, neutralizing it, bringing yourself into center and allowing yourself to make a conscious choice will then suddenly open up a whole new field of possibility for you. Sarah's asking, is the best way to clear our fields about acknowledging the wounding? We may know we have a hunch we have, then it releases by putting attention on it. I feel the distorted programming of lack and guilt always springs back into my field like a time loop. Yes, it is. But I mean, the way I work is, and I, you know, it really depends on what's in alignment to you, is I don't get connected to the stories. So remembering that this programming, the original core wounding, was a few lifetimes ago. But I don't need to know what the wound was all about. I don't need to know what role I played and what was going on. I mean, you know, you can do, and if that's appropriate for you, that information will come through. But for me, it's just, you know, setting the intention, calling in your healing team, getting your healing team to go to that point in time and space and all corresponding points along that branch. Because like I say, those patterns occurring are from that original wound energy. And basically neutralizing and redivinitizing those points. Let your healing team do the work. Your healing team are you in the higher dimensions. They know exactly what to do. You don't have to. You don't have to, in this physical body, have all the information, because in your wider multidimensional being, you do. You hold the key to releasing yourself. And so if you've got an idea, a hunch of what it is, and like I say, these are the triggers. What is triggering me in this lifetime? What have I got an issue with? Where's my block? Like I say, I knew I had one around lack. I knew I had one about receiving. It was about receiving and being loved, but it showed itself as you know, inability to, you know, bring money in, any decent amount of money in. So look to your lifetime here now, because this is where we are, but then open that awareness wider and call your healing team and set them off like little tracker dogs. Go to the point of origination. I want to get to the root cause, and I want to neutralize, divinitize, and I want to reclaim my divine essence. Remember, you've literally signed on these decrees, these promises, these spells, agreements, commands that we've made. We have left some of our divine essence in that point in time and space. And so we want to be recalling that back, because this is allowing us to reclaim our truth, our power, our wholeness. We want to be whole in this moment, you know, as if we'd come in with a divine blueprint intact. We want to be all that we are and all that we came here to be in this lifetime. And we want to embody as much light as we can in this moment, so that we can radiate that love light out into the world and impact on the external reality here now. So, you know, do that work. And if you've got an idea of what it is, fabulous. You know, even if you just said to your healing team, I want you to go down and find all the portals that relate to lack and guilt, then, you know, send them off and down. And just saying, yes, building a new home and challenges every step of the way for months now, with all the people, places connected, so stressful. Okay, so if that's your block, where are the blocks coming in? So, you know, if you're bringing up resistance to what it is that you're doing, so just, you know, asking for awareness on, okay, what is it that I'm blocking myself with? You know, where am I stopping myself from moving? You know, if this new home is part of my highest and greatest good, it's part of my highest timeline, what in my field is stopping that from happening with the utmost ease and grace? Now, sometimes with that, I will say, it's like all the dominoes have to be lined up. And that means that regardless of whether you've done all the work to clear your field and your domino is ready to go, all of the dominoes around you, that's what we call perfect timing, divine timing. All of the other dominoes have to be in alignment for them all to knock down and for it to run smoothly. So it may be that something, you know, it's just not quite divine timing yet. And I can attest to that because I'm looking to buy a new home, and at one point it was going super, super fast and smoothly, and now it's slowed down again. And so it's like, okay, so what's this about? And then it will speed up again. So it's just allowing yourself not to force, not to be in the lower masculine energy, and allow divine timing to be in place. However, tuning in, connecting in, is there something that is within me that's blocking it? And if you get a yes, doing the work. Nadine says we don't need to relive the trauma to release it. Absolutely. I'm a firm believer in that. I've never been interested in the stories of the old wounds. I've lived enough wounds in this lifetime to be connecting in with past life woundings as well. Sarah's saying, yeah, good to know that we don't have to delve into the stories. Love the analogy of neutralizing it feels empowering. Yeah, absolutely. You are a divine creator being. You know, we allow what is happening in our lives. The minute we say no is the minute it all stops. But we have to stand in our power fully and wholly to be able to do that. But that also includes, you know, clearing this stuff out, but not being, you know, not getting drawn into all the storylines of past lives. You know, I know sometimes it can be fun. Always used to make me smile that everybody came away being Queen of Sheba or Cleopatra or some big, you know, important person. But yeah, you don't need to get caught up in the stories. June's saying she's felt the chaos that I spoke of earlier. It's been confusing things for especially recently, feeling the urge need to move on in certain areas of life, but just not happening. Again, June, tuning in. Could be some distortion layer in your field that needs clearing, or it could be perfect timing. So let's not forget that, you know, everything happens in divine timing. And part of my process during this moving to my new home has also been the allowing the awareness of what has been the lower masculine and the lower feminine, and the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies. And again, very much the case of, you know, the lower masculine is very forceful. You want to get from A to B and there's a mountain in the way. The lower masculine is going to blast a hole straight through that mountain. It's going to create a tunnel. You know, it's going to create a canal. The feminine, in the lower perspective, it can know what it wants to do, but it's kind of like, you know, just waiting, indecisive, doesn't, you know, it's not allowing the masculine energy to connect with it for that go time. Okay, we're going to take action. When the divine masculine and the divine feminine come together, the divine masculine holds the space, you know, it waits for the divine feminine to say, yeah, it's go time. The divine feminine allows themselves to be fully open to receive, allows all the resources to come together, allows everything, you know, it's that womb space, that container. And we've got a beautiful speaker later on this week, Lisa Bardell, who talks about healing the womb, clearing the womb space, because it is our space of creativity. So the divine feminine creating this beautiful container so that all of the inspiration, all of the resources can come, and then at the perfect timing calls in the divine masculine does the action. It's go time and takes action. So yeah, be aware of divine timing. Point of origination and reclamation. That's what it's all about. No worries, Suzanne. You can get the replay. I will get the audio replay up as soon as I can after this. So Angela's muscle tested. Nothing is blocking her when asked. And when she asks, it's the hubby. Well, I mean, that's his work. Either that or, you know, the relationship. We can test for those we have a connection to. We can ask for those that we're connected with. But one thing that I will say about testing is whether you're dowsing with a pendulum, whether you're muscle testing, we can create the answer, the response that we want as well, or that we expect. And I will say that because when my dad asked me if he had cancer, I didn't want him to have cancer, although I knew he did have cancer, and the pendulum told me he didn't have cancer. That was the answer that he wanted to hear. That was what I wanted to hear, but I knew it wasn't true. So just have an awareness that we can influence when it is loved ones and we are, again, connected to our identity. Be aware of that. Yes, when you have permission from their higher selves, when they're your children up until a certain point, and then you can ask for them. Karen says, been healing herself for about 15 years, but I feel allowing more light in has just shed light on the negative things that need healing again. How do you get to the end of the healing? I was told a while ago now, a few years ago now, it's not the destination, Karen, it's the journey. Sorry, I know that's not the answer that you want to hear. You know, when do we get to the point where we're fully healed? We know that the chaos and the confusion and, you know, what we're experiencing is very much related to the fact that our planetary self as the Earth is shifting in vibration. Now, when we were in the third dimension fully, and the third dimension to me is where, you know, you're really, really like the lowest kind of vibration of the physical 3D structure, in that you're not aware, you're not looking up, you're not seeing, you know, that there's a multidimensional possibility. You're what people will call asleep. And I actually feel that in that state, it's easier than the fourth dimension, to be honest, because that's when you've got awareness. So when we were in the third dimension, we could only hold so much light. When we're in the fourth, when we're in the fifth, our physical structure has to change. Our physical form has to change to be able to hold more light. So, you know, when is the healing going to stop? When we've reached a high enough frequency and vibration where there isn't this duality anymore. Will that happen in my lifetime? I don't know. I would like to think that I get to fifth dimension from a planetary perspective, and from my lowest vibration is fifth dimension. Would I be in a physical body at that point, or will be more see-through? I don't know. But whilst we are in this particular physical form, it's the journey. It's not the destination. Maria is saying, if we have permission, most things are possible. This is how psionic redaction works in shamanic healing. Yes. Yes, Lisa Bardell is on the 30th. It's a pre-recorded interview, so it will be available from 12 o'clock UK. Maria's saying, losing energy no matter what I do, I don't get better. I have the feeling that everything is dragging from me. I hardly manage to survive, and I have the feeling to break down any minute. Again, tuning in, finding whether or not this is coming from an original wounding, that you are, again, when we have these open portals, we're not just connected into and receiving energy, these distorted programs, these overlays, but as with any rip or tear or open portal within our field, they can be draining our energy as well. So again, be aware of these open portals. So Rick is saying, all I have to do to remove lifelong physical challenges is to ask for these portals to be removed. It could be, I would have to connect in with your energy in, personally to see what comes through in particular for you. Remembering again at the start of what was coming through was that our journey is our soul choice. So there would be answers within your gene codes, there would be answers within your soul contract, there would be answers within your natal chart as to it may be a particular vibration that you've come here to master, which may be translating into a physical challenge, something that your soul chose to have, to experience. So that could also be part of it. But a big part of the healing work that I'm doing at the minute is connecting into shutting down these portals. What is meant by old portals? So what I mean by these old portals are these, these are the lifetimes, and I'm not just going to say past lifetimes. All time is now. They could be future. They could be alternate reality timelines, lifetimes, experiences, where we have this opening because of a role we played in it. We got so connected into that role that we created these commands, we created these soul contracts, we created these promises, and we've literally placed our divine essence in there. And also, we could have handed our power away to somebody in that point in time and space, and that person, that entity is holding that divine essence in that point in time and space. And so it's trapping a part of our essence in that place. And wherever our essence is still being held, it's not being held here in my beautiful Taurus field that I'm existing in, my light body here in this now moment. So, when we call in and we reclaim all of our power and our essence, that statement in itself, if we absolutely know that we're going to call our energy back, can do it for some. But, otherwise we go in and we get the healing team to pull it back. Now, if it is a soul thief, then the healing team is going to go in with a little bit of a different agenda to whether it's something that we've, commanded into being or whatever. From a shamanic perspective, it's more of a negotiation or a strict discussion about the energetic rights and wrongs. But they do pull that energy back and out. So that's what I mean by the old portals. These points in time and space where the original wounding is. But like I say, it's not necessarily the past. It can be future lives. It can be alternate universes, alternate realities, because we exist multidimensionally. So it can be open across the whole energetic perspective. So the work now is really to widen our perspective, to raise our consciousness, and to expand our awareness of ourselves and the field of potentiality that exists. So with this biurification to divine unification, to me, it's very much about releasing ourselves from our limited perspectives so that we can look up, we can see the whole spectrum of this field of potentiality. And this starts with seeing where we are on the different spectrums and not having any judgment. You know, one of the important things about whatever healing journey you're on is not beating yourself up with a stick when you come into this place of awareness. You know, having this awareness that I had a polarity, that I was laying on one of the extremes of the polarity spectrum of unworthiness or connected into lack, not loving myself. From a human perspective, yeah, I could dive straight into judging that, but that would just be feeding into this pattern of unworthiness and not loving myself. So this work is done without judgment. You know, put the stick down and just allow yourself to be in that state of the neutral observer and go, okay, that's interesting. Right. So what am I going to do about it? Do I want to remain here, being impacted, being influenced by this state of being, or do I just want to let that go? Do I want to clear out whatever is in my field that is drawing me into that place? So, you know, it is what it is. And whatever the reasons, it's been perfect. Sarah's got a hand up. I will let you talk. Hi, Sarah. You've got your hand up.
Hello, sorry, Lou. I actually wrote my question and you answered it beautifully. And I must have, I'm not very good, so I forgot to put my hand. Yeah, but thank you. It's been really great tonight, and so much information coming from you. It's like wonderful. So thank you very, very much.
No worries. It's not coming from me. I'm just the channel. But I mean, what I will say, even with this energy transmission, you know, it's like sometimes we need to listen back to it because we'll receive another level. You know, you're going to get whatever you need to get in this now moment. But what I've found is, you know, even when I read back some of my channelings, it's like, oh, wow, okay, that's a whole.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that, especially with your Mundane to Magical Summits. It's so many layers. So I would definitely do that. Thank you.
No worries. And on that point, I'm just going to lower your hand and mute you again.
Thank you.
And on that point, the replays for the live calls, well, the replays for all of them are up for 48 hours. But as always, I will gift a 5-day replay period at the end of the entire summit for anyone who wants to listen back, anybody who came in halfway and, you know, looks at the caller and goes, oh, that looks like an interesting call. If you've missed it for whatever reason, there will be a replay period at the end, but they're all up for 48 hours. I get the audio recordings out as soon as I can upload them, and the video ones are generally the next day just because it takes so long to upload the videos. But they all go out on email. They can all be available on the upcoming calls page under the speaker photo, and also the replay page, which is on the website. I'm pretty sure the replay page is on the website menu. If it's not, I will do it tonight. But yeah, they go out on the emails as well. So yeah, the biggest thing is doing this work without any judgment, you know, allowing us to see where we are on the spectrums and letting go of all of these portals and openings that are tying us into the things that weren't necessarily what our experience was meant to be in this lifetime, from the perspective of what the soul came here to fully master. So, you know, if you've come in this lifetime as a soul to master a certain vibration through your soul contract or whatever, you know, you can look at what specific vibrations they are. But from the divine state of being, you would have come down from a neutral space and, you know, drawn towards you certain experience to be able to master and overcome the lower frequencies and transmute them. That's what I mean about the, you know, the challenging physical experiences or challenging emotional experiences. That may be part of what your soul came here to do. However, we didn't come in with a clear, pure blueprint. I don't believe anybody, I've never met anybody on this planet that has. And so the other thing is, look to where these portals may be connecting you into, because this is creating this biurification that we've been experiencing this whole time. Because we've been connected to all this baggage, literally, that we've been dragging behind us. So when we start to really allow ourselves to disconnect and really disconnect from these points of origin that created these distortion overlays in the programming, we actually free ourselves to be who we came here to be and have the experiences we came here to have. And being able to transmute our lower frequency programming and become masters, to gain mastery, becomes so much easier when we do this. But again, acknowledging that this whole thing is part of our perfect journey. And so some of us who have had many, many lifetimes, have got lots and lots of baggage, have actually particularly come to have a challenging experience. And I put my hand up to that one. It's actually in my soul contract reading. I've got 21-3. You know, I came here to experience that which would enable me to see my strength. And so that often shows itself in challenging experiences. You know, it's as if our souls are kind of asking, you know, how committed are you really about coming into mastery? So the process is to dissolve, as it were, the biurification that exists within ourselves and come into divine unification, to see exactly where we are, to see all of the polarity spectrums that we're connected into and where we lay upon the spectrum, and to bring ourselves back into center, to bring ourselves back into that place of divine neutrality, where we have a full spectrum of perception available to us, and we're making choices. We're making choices, knowing that all of these potentials are within our field, but I'm choosing this, I'm choosing this. And, you know, where not only do we have the spectrums running horizontally, but also vertically, you know, what timelines am I choosing into? Where is my field of potentiality? Have I capped it? Have I got a glass ceiling? Is this as far as I'm allowing myself to go? You know, do I get to open my glass ceiling up? Because there's a whole spectrum beyond there. Where am I choosing to create my reality from? What timelines am I attracting towards me? Am I limiting my field of potentiality and, you know, basically only feeding from the bottom of the field of potentiality? Am I just playing in these lower timelines? Am I completely and utterly attached to these lower timelines, so that when they do zip off again, you know, and that thing doesn't happen, actually I feel quite devastated because I was that attached to it? Or am I seeing all of these possibilities up here? You know, am I allowing myself to focus on a timeline that's full of joy and freedom and love and harmony? Unconditional love, not the conditional love based on my size or my shape or how much money I've got, but that which is more akin to that natural state that we called in at the very start of this call as source energy. So let's have a look at the comments. Oh yeah, lots of thanks yous. Healing is a journey. Yes. Judgment. Yes. Slapped you in the face the last couple of days. Give yourself a hug. Yeah, 21-3. It's a nice one, that one, isn't it? 21.3. Don't you just love it? 119. Wow, powerful soul. Powerful soul. Right. Okay. Lots of thank yous. Wonderful. So, some questions to consider. What timelines are you attracting? You know, what is your tractor beam focused on? Because when you've got that full spectrum of awareness, that's when you get to choose, because you see all the timelines, you see them coming in, and you say, yep, I can let you dock, or no, thank you, looks like toxic waste to me, you can pass by. So yeah, just allowing yourself to have that awareness of the full spectrum of possibility, of potentiality. And being an empath, you know, we're not an open sponge. We're not taking on everybody's stuff as our own, completely unaware that we've got boundaries. We're on the other side saying we're a sovereign being. I know where I start and stop, and I see you, but I'm not taking it all on board as mine. I'm not owning your stuff. I see you, I have an awareness of you, but yeah, just with these timelines, I'm not letting you dock, I'm not attaching to you. Yeah, so I think that is, have I covered everything? Do they want me to share anything more? No, I think that covers everything. So if anybody's got any last questions, anything, because I mean, this whole thing, biurification to divine unification, is all about coming back into wholeness, you know, unifying, pulling all aspects of ourselves together, allowing ourselves to be all that we are, our masculine, our feminine, our good, our bad, our ugly, allowing ourselves to acknowledge all of it, not hiding from any of it, not denying it, not repressing it, not seeing that you are just one aspect of your being. And this is what I teach a lot with clients. This is what I share a lot in the sessions with people. So, somebody's got a 9-9 in physical challenge. I think mine's 18-9. I've got 9-9 in spiritual, I think, or the other way around. I feel for you. I can empathise, Helen. I've got quite a few 9s, and that having 9s, lots of 9s, is a physical challenge. It's a physical challenge. That is hard on the body. 9 energy, dragon energy, powerful stuff. The numbers, it's not Ariella's system. It was first channeled by a guy called Frank Alper, but Ariella Indigo does use it as well. It's the soul contract system. I work with it. Nicholas David Nagan, he I think he was actually taught by Frank Alper or something along that lineage. Blue Marsden, yeah, soul purpose, soul contract reading. There's a number of people. Almira, she does it too. Yeah. We don't need to work out all the baggage. That is one of the things about not getting connected with the storyline. If you get to the root cause, the whole rest of that gamut, whether it's emotional baggage, mental programming, when I do a session with clients, and because I am clairvoyant, I see, I'm just aware of the time actually, so I'm going to wrap this up soon. I literally see them pulling it all out of your field, and they're literally carefully pulling every last fiber and strand, because it's pervasive, you know, it's gone everywhere. It's like if you've ever seen brambles speeded up, they're like throughout, you know, they just grow so rapidly, and that's how I see it, like veins, like roots going through the whole field. But once the portal to the point of origination has been closed and disconnected and dissolved, there's no energy feeding it. And so, you know, it all dies back and everything is just pulled out by the healing team. It's the soul contract. It's the Hebrew 5-letter system, Maria. If you go on my website and I think on my services, loumatson.com, there's a whole page on it where you can see that. You're feeling lots of stories around your throat chakra, Amanda. I'm song and all things I know how to open, wondering if I need to clear these stories for the timelines to help me clear this. Well, basically the way I work and with the healing team is that they clear it from your cellular memory, from your DNA, and from your Akashic record. So just set the intention when you do that for your healing team, however you want to work, to go down to the point of origination, and it will clear from your Akashic record, because your Akashic record is the record of all things. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, you'll find them, you know, if you've got issues in the throat, these elements could be woven all the way through your different energy centers. You know, as we do one thing, we do all things, unfortunately. So yeah. Right. So yeah, coming into divine unification means that we're making conscious choices. When we're making conscious choices, you know, we are actually connecting into the all that we are. You know, we're pulling everything in together, we're seeing the whole, and we're making a choice from that point. We are taking responsibility. We're not handing our power over to anyone or anything, saying, you know, this is dictating how I respond or react. We're saying, I am here, this is me, and this is where I want to direct my energy. And this is what I'm connecting into. All right, I'm going to leave it there because I'm aware of the time and it's going to take ages to upload the video of this, but it shouldn't take too long to upload the sound. So thank you all, everybody, for joining me. It's been wonderful sharing space with you, having your energy. It's absolutely beautiful to do the summit again. I do love doing them. Can't wait for tomorrow, where we have another live call with Raven Many Voices. Excited because the dragons are coming, and really blessed because we've got the dragons twice this season. So I will get the recording out as soon as I can of this, and like I say, it will be on the upcoming calls page, it will be on the replay page. I've also given a free gift, which is on the free gifts page, and a special offer. So the free gift is 2 activations. So one is navigating shifting timelines with the utmost ease and grace. And the other is seeing where your polarity spectrums are, and actually doing some of this work of neutralizing them as well. But if anybody does feel the call to work with me, as a special offer, I've given a reduced price for an individual session. And also my other special offer is the individual session with the whole recording of the summit interviews, where you've got lifetime access to downloadable versions of the video and audio forms. So much love to you all. Have a great rest of your day. As you can probably tell, it's become evening here. I forgot to switch the main light on. But yeah, thanks again for joining me. And I look forward to sharing space with you again over the coming days and the next 2 weeks, if you can join me with the other live sessions. Have a look on the upcoming calls page. The title is there. The speakers and the dates are there. All being well with the technology, everything will run smoothly. That is always my intention. Yeah, and I look forward to sharing space with you again. Thank you so much. So much love. Bye.